Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elizabeth here at Lizzie Loves Life, and today I'm going to do the Pan That Palette for 2020 finale. So if you haven't seen my introduction and past ones, I will link my playlist up above so you guys can kind of follow along in my journey. My main goal was to try and use up my Marc Jacobs Scandalust Eyeshadow palette. This goal for Pan That Palette is to completely use all of the eyeshadows up in this palette, so you can follow along with every month kind of my update on how I was doing, what I was wearing typically for that month. And then as I was using up eyeshadows in this palette, I would gradually grab a couple other palettes and pair it with it. So I'm gonna share with you guys kind of the update on what this palette looks like at the end of the year, and then what I did with these palettes. If you're interested, then keep watching. So like I said, I think this is the oldest one in my collection. That is why I pulled it out, and it was a good palette to pull out for 2020. Not too many eyeshadows, kind of wearable looks, but let's see where I ended with for this month. So you can see I completely used up Hot Pants, At the Office, Cause the Fuss, Have Hit Pan and They Call Her, and A Little Miss. So that is where this palette ended off. I will say the first two shades, the Hot Pants, which is that kind of cream shimmer kind of shade, and then At the Office, I believe, or it was Cause the Fuss, I can't remember. The shimmery like champagne shades were the first two to go. Those are kind of my staple everyday eye look. And then there was like a matte kind of taupe light brown that I used in the crease all the time. Those were why those kind of went first. This light medium kind of brown matte shade I did like to use a lot in my crease. I did like to have They Call Her all over the lid, and then try and do like a champagne color on the inner to middle part of my eye. That's kind of my staple, what I like to do with almost all of my eyeshadow palettes. And then a couple of y'all even told me, and I was doing this for quite a bit in 2020, using the hot pink shade, Scandalous, as my crease shade. I even used it as a blush. I believe I have a video of how I used all these shades in a one palette, one look for like blush, brows, things like that. But I gave myself a little bit more grace this year, as we all probably did in 2020 with our makeup. So that's why some of these tougher shades are still in here. And then the dark brown shade, Little Miss, I used as outer corner, or I used in my brows, and it worked pretty well. So it's been a year since I've been working on this. I'm taking a hardcore look at what realistically I would like to kind of depot and use, and I do really like all of them. I'm gonna have to go back and look to see how old this palette is in my collection, and it does have a 12-month expiration. I think, honestly, being realistic with myself, what I'm gonna do is just depot this shade right here, the They Call Her, that kind of taupey kind of shade right there. I think that's the only one I would depot. I feel like this is going to be kind of hard to depot just because of the plastic, but I'll kind of go through that with you guys in this video as well, so wish us luck. The first palette I panned with it was my Modern Renaissance from Anastasia, and I needed it for that kind of base white shade, which is right there. So I used Tempera a lot, also used Vermeer and Primavera. The other shades I really didn't touch for when I was using it. And then once I used up that Tempera shade, I moved on to the next pairing, which was my Essence Witch Side palette. I got this kind of around the summertime, and I used it for the matte white shade Ritual, which you can see I used up completely. So that was kind of my rotation to the next palette. But when I used this, I used Amulet, Power, and Shadowy kind of frequently, because again, I used that champagne shade up in the Marc Jacobs palette. So this was kind of what I used. I will say with Amulet and with those kind of three shades, I was recommending, or I was asking you guys for an eyeshadow primer that would kind of help the chunkier glitter stick, because these are kind of more flaky eyeshadow, more glittery chunks, I guess is the best way. And y'all recommended the NYX Glitter Glue, so I will be trying that out with this palette here in 2021. And then I paired it with my Huda Beauty New Nude palette. And this one I was using the shade Bear. And I used it for a while, was using a couple of other shades, really like it. But this year I went like around in October, early November, my husband picked out the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk kind of Dreams Come True collection. So if you haven't seen that video, I will link it up above. So kind of from the moment I got the Pillow Talk set from Charlotte Tilbury, I was hooked on this eyeshadow palette. This is an eyeshadow quad. It's the Pillow Talk Luxury palette, and I was surprised that I was able to hit pan so much in that prime shade, this first shade right here. I don't know what that says about me with that shade. I guess I go kind of heavy with it since I went through like almost all of my eyeshadows and all of my palettes that kind of have that creamy kind of champagne color, but it's just one of my favorites. I love to apply it from my eyebrow all the way down like through my whole eye. But yeah, I was using this more frequently towards the end of this year. So I was kind of using this kind of topper right here, or they call it their pop shade, more than gravitating towards the one in my Marc Jacobs. I guess shiny and new versus old kind of thing. But realistically, what I'm thinking of doing, and we will go ahead and do that now, is trying to depot that shade. Wish me luck. I am horrible at these. For being a project panner for so long, I have never been good at it. And the palette has like almost barely been touched. I have like a couple of Anastasia Beverly Hills shadows here and then a Morphe one. So we will see how this depotting goes. So this doesn't make any sense because it was so easy to get under, but it's not popping out. Wow, that was actually really easy to do. I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place. So since the Marc Jacobs is so magnetic already and it was really easy kind of to get out overall, I think I'm just gonna depot the other ones too and put it in the C palette. I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions, we'll get away, this is what we waited. So being realistic, I'm saving the That's Why shade, that medium kind of brown shade right there. You can see it kind of had a little damage getting popped out. And then That's Why, or That's Why, and this is, they call her, that kind of rust shade. I'm saving that. But then I'm really not going to save the hot pink shade and the dark brown shade. I probably have so many of those kind of shades in my collection. And I started cracking the eyeshadow, so it was just going to be a hot mess. I wasn't going to deal with that. So overall, I'm pretty happy with 2020 and how I did with this palette, what I have left over for the next year, but really happy about that. Let me know if you are doing a pan that palette for 2021. I have my intro video coming out very soon. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with more project pans and projects that I'll be working on in 2021. And I'll talk to you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Stumbling out of bed, and I still got you in my head. From all those pretty words you said, it's like I'm wasted. Every time I see your face, I'm losing track of time and space. I don't know where I am, it's like I'm wasted, and I won't waste it.